Hey everyone, it's Mark Ferguson with Invest for More, and today I'm going to talk about the biggest mistake I made ever in my real estate investing career. So it's about a house I bought back in 2006, decided to do all the work on it myself. I was completely miserable for 6 months. It was horrible. It hurt my business. I did learn a lot from it, but it's also not a good decision to make. And I'm going to go through why it hurt my business so much, why it didn't save me the money I thought it would save, and show you the property, some pictures and stuff. We don't have videos of it because I didn't take videos back then. But hopefully it'll be an enlightening video to show you what it takes to really fix up a house when you don't really know what you're doing. All right, so we're going to go through all that. Of course, check out investformore.com for lots of articles on being an agent, flipping houses, buying rental properties, all of that good stuff. And we always appreciate new subscribers, likes on the videos, and comments as well. So let's get started. Here's the house that I ended up buying and selling. Now, at the time, I'd been working with my dad for 4 years or so. I was an agent. We flipped the occasional house, maybe 2 to 4 a year, once in a while, a little more than that. But my main way I made money was being an agent and then extra money flipping houses. So I was trying to get ahead of life. I'd been in the business 4 years, wasn't making huge amounts of money. I think I was making like $50,000 a year, maybe a little less than that some years. And so I was trying to figure out ways to get ahead. And one of those ways was, why don't I just do all the work myself on a flip? Now, on other flips, I had painted before, put up light fixtures, done minor stuff just to make a little extra money. And actually, when I was 14, I helped frame a house, which technically wasn't legal, but it was a lot of fun for me one summer. So I had some construction background, but not enough to do this. And I think a lot of people get this idea in their head, oh, we're just going to fix up this house on the weekends and at night. And you don't realize that it would take a professional contractor, a month or 6 weeks working on this property full time to fix it up. And yet the flipper thinks they're going to do it part-time on the weekends in the same amount of time, and then they wonder why it takes 6 months or a year to do it. And the fact is that you just don't have time to do it. It takes a lot of time to fix up houses, and that's for people who know what they're doing. So I found this house, bought it from the MLS. You can see here is $120,500 we bought it for back in 2006. Thought it was a really good deal. It wasn't a bad deal. But again, my whole idea was I'm going to make so much more money because I do all this work myself. And I'm going to save like $20,000 on paying a contractor. And in reality, I wasn't even going to save that much money. That's something else I made the mistake of doing. I didn't run the numbers. I didn't say, hey, here's how much a contractor is going to cost me. Here's how much the materials are going to cost me. Here's how much I'm going to save on labor by doing this. I probably only saved $5,000 to $10,000 on labor by ruining half of the year. Maybe I saved $15,000 on labor because it took me so much longer, and the contractors would have been so much more efficient. It didn't even save me that much money, and in the end, it really cost me money. But here you can see the property and what it looks like. It wasn't in horrible shape. Had a big garage, but kitchen was old and dated. Had some newer windows, but most of them were old. Had the nice garage. So not a whole lot of pictures, but you can see it wasn't in horrible shape, but it wasn't bad. And my thoughts were, I'm going to buy this for $120,000, make a commission when I buy it because I'm an agent. I'm going to go in there, get all the work done for like $10,000 or something in materials and that stuff. And I'm going to sell it for like $190,000, make all this money, and be a great position. It did not work out that way. And I'll show you here what happened after we did the work. I sold it for $164,000. And it took me 6 months, a little less than 6 months to do all this work. And it was not a good situation at all because I was literally spending all my time here and I was miserable. My wife and I weren't married yet, but we were dating. She hated me because I was so grumpy and grouchy all the time. And the thing that people don't realize is I'm doing all this work. I'm spending all my time there. I wasn't making any money at all selling houses as an agent. I wasn't prospecting for anybody. I wasn't finding any new deals to flip. I wasn't doing any of the activities that make me money. I was spending all my time doing grunt work. And it looked decent. Our pictures are kind of bad from 2007, but I put in this entire kitchen myself. Now, I learned a lot. I did. I learned a lot. I learned how to put in a kitchen. It doesn't really help me much now, though, because my contractors know how to put in kitchens, and it's pretty simple. But I put in the kitchen, put in the countertops. I laid laminate flooring. I did a bunch of texture work. We took out, you can see right here, this wall. There's a wall here. I took out that wall. I had to have help from my contractor friends to do that because I didn't want the house to fall down. But they came and helped me with that part of it. Laid all this flooring. I painted everything. Installed a bunch of new windows in a house that was, what was that, 80-year-old house? None of the walls were square. None of the window openings were square. I was just fighting with myself the whole time, trying to make these things look decent and using about 8,000 pounds of caulking and foam sealing to seal these windows because they were so far off. Did light fixtures. That's one of my pet peeves is when my contractors won't install light fixtures. I mean, that's one of the simplest things to do. And I have shocked myself a few times. It doesn't really hurt that badly if you're doing lights. Now, if you're installing a stove with 220, you might kill yourself, but lights are another story. Yeah, these are some of the windows I put in. The carpet I did not lay. I didn't know how to do carpet. My friend actually knew how to lay carpet, so he helped me with that. But again, installed doors, put in a lot of those, did some work on the bathrooms, wasn't doing anything too crazy. Oh, it must have snowed a bunch that day. And our garage, we didn't do a whole lot. So it wasn't even that big of a remodel. There wasn't, kitchen, windows, doors, paint, some texture, and it took me forever. And I was miserable. I hated my life. And in the end, I didn't make any money on this deal because it took me 6 months to do all the work when it would have taken a contractor a month to do those, maybe 6 weeks, and they would have been in and out so fast. And that money that I supposedly saved on all the labor I did, wasted it all on carrying costs by taking 3 months longer, 4 months longer than it would have taken a contractor. And I'm going to show you that kind of right now, what those numbers look like. Here you can see some of the costs to own a flip per day. And remember, this is back 13 years ago when things were much cheaper for us to buy, to finance. Everything was cheaper. But $120,000 $500 purchase price, you're paying utilities as long as you have this property. So these can be low, can be high depending on where you're at, but basically at least $200 a month in utilities when you're doing a flip. Even if you're not using water, you're still paying sewer bills. Gas, if you need heat in the winter, can be expensive. Electric, if you're using AC in the summer, can be expensive. So those costs might be higher. Maintenance, you've got to mow the grass when you've got it in the summer. You have to remove snow in the winter. Those are costs that can add up. You've got to have insurance on the house while you're flipping it, and you're paying property taxes while you have it as well. And these taxes are very low in Colorado. You might pay much more than that in other states, so that's something to remember too. And then financing. At the time, we're doing very cheap loans with our banks. Put, 20% down, 25% down, got around 6% interest rate, fluctuating around there. So $6,000 a year for that. Or if you're doing hard money, which a lot of people are doing, you're paying 10% or more on a higher loan amount, you're paying $12,000 a year for that cost. And so no matter when you sell it or buying costs, selling costs at the time of closing, you've got all these costs while you're owning the property, which can be, $10,000 a year total, or $28 a day for the cheap loan, which adds up to $3,500 extra in costs if it takes me 4 months to do this house, which actually is not much money at all because this house was so cheap back then. Now I'm paying twice as much for houses. Financing might be more expensive, and it would cost me probably $7,000 to $10,000 or more to hold a house that much longer. And there goes any of that savings I had from doing the work myself. Just gone. Doesn't matter at all. Costs are even higher with hard money. So it really made no sense from that standpoint to do the work myself. It didn't save me anything. And something else to consider is this was in 2006, 2007, right before the housing crisis hit. When it was hitting, that's one reason why we only sold the house for $165,000 when I thought I could sell it for $180,000. The market was declining, so by holding the property for 4 months longer, I lost a lot more money because the price was worth less than I thought it would be. Now, we're always planning for these things, and we have lots of profit built into the properties, but that's a huge reason why we want to sell quickly, get things done fast, because the longer you hold a property, the more exposed you are to a changing market. The market's going up, great, you're getting lucky, maybe you can sell the house for more, but if the opposite happens, if the market goes down, it can really hurt you the longer you hold a property. So that's another reason why I just realized getting these done quickly, paying someone to do the work is so much better than doing it all myself. And on top of that, now we're doing, 15 to 20 flips at a time. I have rental properties. I own a real estate brokerage. I've got the blog. We're doing these videos. I'd have no time to do any of that if I were doing all the work on these properties myself. I would be trading hours for dollars, kind of stuck in a rut. I've seen a lot of flippers do it where they're just doing all the work themselves. It's really hard to scale, really hard to get ahead because they gave themselves a job. So when you're doing these houses, your ultimate goal is got to be to delegate, get as much of the work done as you can. You are the high-level person working on the business, finding deals, finding better financing, looking for new ways to improve things and not getting stuck doing hourly work that you could hire out. All right, that's all for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Please leave comments if you have any questions at all. Again, I learned a lot about construction on this house, which has helped me some, but it still was not a good situation. Cost me so much money. It was my worst year ever by far in real estate, even worse than my first year because of this house, because I spent all my time doing it and spent no time selling houses, looking for other deals. All right, we'll have more videos coming up soon.